Right now, somewhere in the world, a woman is revealing exactly how she feels about a man without saying a single word. No dramatic confession, no late-night text, no bold declaration, just her body quietly and instinctively communicating what her lips never will. And the surprising truth is that most men never notice. They are looking for sentences when the real message is written in posture, movement, and subtle physical cues. What makes this so fascinating is that much of this communication is not planned. It is not strategy. It is not manipulation. It is biology. When attraction begins to build, the nervous system responds long before logic catches up. Hormones shift. Muscles subtly relax or activate. Blood flow changes. Breathing patterns adjust. The body begins speaking in a language older than words. Research in nonverbal communication has consistently shown that a large portion of emotional meaning is transmitted without speech. Tone, facial expression, posture, and gesture often reveal more than carefully chosen sentences ever could. This is not about mind reading, it is about awareness. When you understand how the body expresses comfort, safety, and attraction, interactions become clearer and far less confusing. Before we go further, it is important to say something grounded and healthy. No single gesture ever guarantees attraction. Context matters, personality matters, culture matters. What we are discussing are patterns, not promises. The key is observation over time, not jumping to conclusions based on one isolated movement. Healthy connection always requires mutual comfort and respect. Now let us begin with the first powerful signal, the neck. The neck is one of the most vulnerable areas of the human body. Major arteries, the airway, and critical nerves all run through this narrow space. From a biological standpoint, protecting the neck is instinctive. When someone feels threatened or guarded, the shoulders rise, the chin lowers, and the neck becomes shielded. When someone feels safe and open, the opposite can happen. When a woman tilts her head slightly to one side during conversation, or brushes her hair back to expose her neck, or lightly touches the side of her throat while listening, it can signal comfort and receptivity. This gesture softens the posture. It reduces perceived defensiveness. It subtly communicates trust. There is also a physiological layer here. The skin of the neck is sensitive and responsive to emotional states. When someone feels attraction, heart rate can increase slightly. Blood flow can change. The person may become more aware of that area without consciously realizing it. A light touch to the neck may simply be the body responding to internal stimulation. What matters most is repetition and ease. If the head tilt is natural, if the gesture appears relaxed rather than forced, and if it happens more than once during engaged conversation, it can suggest genuine comfort. Attraction thrives where safety exists. The body often shows safety before the mind openly admits desire. Now let us move to something even subtler, the inner wrists. Think about what the body does when it feels defensive. Arms cross, hands clench, wrists rotate inward. The softer underside of the wrist becomes hidden. This protects one of the body's pulse points. It is an unconscious shielding mechanism. When a woman feels comfortable and drawn towards someone, you may notice her wrists becoming more visible. She might rest her chin lightly on her hand with her palm open. She may gesture with her palms facing upward rather than downward. She might place her hands on a table with the soft inner wrists exposed instead of turned away. The inner wrist contains thin skin and visible veins. It is another vulnerable area. Exposing it suggests openness. It is the opposite of guarded behavior. In early attraction, subtle increases in dopamine and adrenaline can make gestures slightly more animated. Movements may become more fluid, palms more expressive. Interestingly, these same pulse points are where fragrance is traditionally applied. Body warmth in these areas gently disperses scent. While this is not a conscious strategy in most cases, it highlights how deeply biology and attraction are intertwined. The body leans toward connection in ways that feel natural rather than rehearsed. Again, context matters. One open palm means little. A consistent pattern of relaxed, open gestures paired with steady eye contact and engaged listening paints a more complete picture. Attraction is rarely loud. It is often rhythmic and layered. As you begin observing these cues, remember that awareness should never replace empathy. The goal is not to decode someone like a puzzle. The goal is to better understand the quiet ways comfort and interest appear. When you notice these signs, the healthiest response is not sudden intensity. It is warmth. It is steady confidence. It is matching openness with openness. The lower body is remarkable because, unlike the face or hands, it is far harder to consciously control. Feet, legs, and hips are often overlooked in conversation, yet they carry some of the clearest signals of attention, comfort, and attraction. When someone feels drawn toward another person, their legs naturally orient in that direction. Even if she is engaged with a group, standing in a social circle, or talking to someone else, subtle shifts in her feet and legs can reveal her genuine interest. If a woman points her toes or angles her knees toward a man, it is a sign of subconscious attention. Her body is quietly choosing alignment without words. Conversely, if her legs or feet turn away, it suggests distance or discomfort. This is not about conscious flirtation, it is a biological tendency. Our nervous systems are wired to orient toward what is safe and appealing, and the lower body is especially honest because it is rarely monitored or manipulated intentionally. Crossing and uncrossing the legs can also communicate subtle messages. When a woman crosses her legs and the top leg angles towards someone she is attracted to, it is a small but meaningful indicator of openness and interest. If the top leg points away, she may be signaling caution or disengagement. Beyond direction, the movement itself is informative. Gentle bouncing, shifting weight, or rhythmic leg adjustments often occur unconsciously when adrenaline rises in the presence of someone attractive. The body is responding before the mind fully registers the feeling. Leg positioning also works in tandem with posture. A woman leaning slightly forward while maintaining this alignment indicates a convergence of attention and engagement. Her nervous system is activated in a way that subtly amplifies signals of attraction. Researchers studying human courtship behavior have documented that these movements often cluster together with other nonverbal cues, reinforcing the overall message. It is crucial to note that legs and feet are part of a larger pattern, not a standalone signal. Observation over several interactions provides context. A single shift might reflect comfort, habit, or distraction, but repeated orientation toward a specific person, combined with upper body cues, becomes meaningful. The most effective observation is holistic, watching how the neck, wrists, legs, and torso interact to create a consistent story. Now consider the torso, the final and perhaps most revealing area. The torso houses vital organs and represents the center of the body. Exposing the front of the torso is an inherently vulnerable position. From an evolutionary standpoint, people instinctively protect this area. When someone feels safe, open, and attracted, they naturally face the other person fully, rather than angling sideways or shielding with their shoulders. Full frontal orientation communicates trust and interest in a profound, nonverbal way. It is one of the strongest predictors of interpersonal attraction. Leaning slightly forward, touching the upper body, or adjusting clothing to subtly highlight the chest or stomach are all gestures that, often unknowingly, draw attention while signaling openness. These are not deliberate performances. They are instinctive biological signals that the body broadcasts before conscious thought intervenes. When the neck, wrists, legs, and torso cues appear together, they form a symphony of signals. Individually, each gesture could be coincidence. Together, they paint a powerful picture of comfort, interest, and readiness for connection. Studies in social neuroscience and behavioral anthropology have repeatedly shown that people displaying multiple nonverbal signals are approached more often and perceived as more engaged and attractive. It is important to approach this understanding with sensitivity and respect. Nonverbal cues communicate possibility, not permission. They are guides for observing comfort and interest, not instructions for immediate action. The healthiest response is always mutual respect, awareness of consent, and patience. Recognizing attraction allows for more confident, authentic engagement, but it should never override boundaries or context. Now that we have explored the subtle signals of the neck, wrists, legs, and torso, it is time to bring everything together into a practical approach. Understanding nonverbal cues is most powerful when viewed as patterns rather than isolated gestures. Each signal carries information, but their meaning becomes clearer when multiple cues appear together. The key is observation over time, patience, and attention to consistency. Start by observing small, repeated behaviors. Notice if she tilts her head or exposes her neck more than once during a conversation. Pay attention to how often her wrists are visible, palms relaxed, gestures open. Watch how her legs naturally orient, whether her knees point toward you or if she subtly adjusts her posture. Finally, observe her torso. Does she face you fully, lean slightly forward, or orient her upper body toward you? When these signals appear together, they reinforce one another, suggesting genuine comfort and attraction. It is essential to interpret these cues with context in mind. One gesture alone is rarely meaningful. External factors such as environment, cultural norms, and personal habits can influence behavior. But consistent patterns, combined with engaged conversation, eye contact, and relaxed interaction, create a clearer picture of her level of comfort and interest. Once you recognize these patterns, responding appropriately is equally important. Confidence does not mean rushing or forcing a connection. It means being present, attuned, and responsive. Simple gestures, like mirroring her posture subtly or maintaining an open stance yourself, can reinforce comfort. Listening actively, showing genuine curiosity, and respecting personal boundaries ensures that the interaction remains mutually positive. Timing is another crucial factor. The body often signals interest before the mind consciously acknowledges it. There may be moments when her nonverbal cues suggest she is open to closeness, and other moments when she retreats subtly. Awareness of these micro moments allows for a measured, confident response. Lean in slightly, match energy, or offer a warm smile. Small actions in sync with her cues create shared understanding and connection. It is also important to remember that nonverbal signals are not guarantees. They are indicators of comfort, interest, and receptivity, not consent. Observing these cues gives you insight into how she feels in the moment. But ethical interaction requires respect for her autonomy and ongoing verbal and nonverbal feedback. Mutual comfort and genuine connection are always the goal. Ultimately, becoming attuned to these subtle cues allows interactions to feel richer and more intuitive. You notice when someone is truly engaged, when attention is focused, and when openness is present. This awareness transforms social moments into opportunities for connection rather than confusion. Small gestures, once overlooked, now become meaningful guides. As you practice observing these signals in everyday interactions, you will develop a deeper understanding of human behavior. You will notice patterns, interpret them with greater accuracy, and respond in ways that feel natural and respectful. Over time, this awareness builds confidence, not through manipulation, but through attunement, empathy, and understanding. When the neck tilts, the wrists open, the legs align, and the torso faces fully forward, you can read these signs as part of a broader conversation happening entirely without words. Your role is to respond thoughtfully, to respect boundaries, and to engage in a way that fosters trust and openness. In doing so, you create the kind of meaningful, authentic interactions that make connection effortless and genuine. By paying attention, practicing patience, and staying aware of both verbal and nonverbal communication, you become more than an observer. You become a participant in a shared dance of attention, comfort, and mutual interest. Recognizing these cues is not about control, it is about understanding. It is about seeing clearly, responding appropriately, and cultivating moments where connection can naturally unfold. This framework empowers you to notice subtle signals, interpret them accurately, and engage in ways that are confident, empathetic, and grounded. It turns previously invisible behaviors into actionable insight, guiding you toward interactions that feel authentic, respectful, and mutually rewarding. Ultimately, the art of reading nonverbal cues allows you to experience human connection with clarity, depth, and care, ensuring that no meaningful signal goes unnoticed and no opportunity for genuine engagement is missed.